Okay, so today I'm doing a demo of the TFA Effects Varmint. This version of the Varmint. There's a revision coming soon that'll change a few things up, but this is actually the very last of this run of the Varmint distortions. It's based on the Proco Rat, and it's based off of the OP07 chip, which is basically what Proco Rat uses nowadays instead of the fabled LM308 chip. For those of you who aren't well versed on what that means, it's basically a chip that'll it's a modern day one that'll react as closely to that original fabled one as possible, instead of just your standard op amp. So this type of distortion, it has a lot of edge to it. Right now everything's at noon. I'll put a lid around, but here's the clean tone. Strat into Blues Junior. So I like to think of the Rat as kind of an all-in-one kind of pedal, because it can do some basic overdrive tones, albeit raunchier sounding ones than your standard smooth tube screamer kind of things. It's obviously easy to get into distortion tones, and when you crank it up, you can get into fuzz territory very easily. So I have labeled the controls here, but you have volume, gain, your tone filter, which I'll get into in a bit, but it works backwards from your normal tone control, and then a fat control, which sort of affects both the amount of gain and the low end character of the pedal. Then there's this three-way compression, diode compression switch, which changes up the clipping feel, and I'll get to that in a bit too. But let's take it up to a higher gain tone. Lower gain. Screwed that up. So it goes all the way from that. Lots of fuzzy character there. Now the fat control. It might be a little hard to tell through the mic here, but as you beef up the lower end, it reduces the gain a little bit, but in a nice way, like it's compromised, but a nice. So. But then when you turn it the other way, it thins out the sound a little bit on the low end, but. So it's not an all-in-one powerful bass cut boost control, but it just changes the character of your tone, especially in the low end. The the high cut control, it works backwards. Instead of just rolling off a set frequency, it's actually always rolling off a frequency, and turning the knob just changes the frequency that's being cut off. So when it's all the way down, like it's like way up in like the higher edges of your hearing that's being cut off. Noon, it's like that. So a lot less fizzy. And then when you have it turned up all the way, because that's how it goes for getting the darker tones. It sounds like a blanket over the amp speaker. So it's a useful tone control, even if you have to keep in mind it goes in the opposite direction you might expect. So yeah, those are just a few of the basic rat tones. I'm not going to go into a full thing with this mode because you know, you can look up any rat demo and it's designed to sound like that. Get some more fun when you start playing around with this switch. When you have it down, instead of the stock silicon diodes that you would find in like a normal rat type circuit, you have LEDs. So it's a bigger, bolder, more open sound. So yeah, you can get heavier tones. It's a much rounder distortion, even though it's still hard clipping with the LEDs. It's like you know, a lot less compression going on. If I had designed this with this in mind, I would have made it so that the LEDs were mounted on the outside of the chassis, and you would see how they flash as you play. Like as the LEDs clip, they light up as the signal goes through them. If I were to take the back off of this, you would see that it's a kind of cool thing to see, although it might be a bit distracting when you're on stage. And then when you have it up in the middle, it might not sound too different there, but there's even less of the hairy edge. So all you're getting is the op amp with op amp distorting without any clipping. It's the least distorted of all the tones. But it's the least compressed and loudest, which makes it the perfect one for getting almost nice clean tones. Maybe not clean tones, but like nice lower gain tones, I should say. it still has a hard edge to it, so it's not like a tube screamer or something doing soft clipping. So it's a different kind of character for that kind of low gain overdrive. That's not the kind of sound you would normally expect from a rat type circuit. Just a tiny little bit of hair on your signal, and although I should point out that this clipping switch, the differences are much more noticeable when you have the gain up. And making this one of the shorter demos I've done in a while, that's pretty much it. It runs on 9-volt power supply. It's got room for a battery inside. As I said, this is the last of this Mark I version of the Varmint. I have a new one coming out soon. Well, maybe not so soon, but I have a new design planned out that's going to have basically these two controls are going to be on the inside as trim pots, so you can still get the effect, but of like the high cut and the fatness control. But instead, on the outside, there's going to be true Baxandall style treble bass controls for both cutting or boosting highs and lows. So the next version will be even more powerful. Plus, it'll have a bit more refined gain stage and everything, but still have a lot of edge to it. Yeah. So, but for anyone who wants something that's like a normal rat, but with the ability to get extra tones, like pick this up. It's definitely a cool thing. Oh, and I should point out that it stacks well with other drives in my experience. Like, I'm just playing it through a clean amp now, but that's just with my Stormfront overdrive just behind it in the circuit, so to add a bit more fullness and whatnot. So it works well in front of other drive circuits. Handle all the extra noise there. Probably don't need it cranked up that much, but was my archetype overdrive boosting into the front of this for a little bit of extra mid-range presence. Hopefully that came through on the mic. But yeah, no, I've always found the Varmint to stack well with other pedals. It should, because that's the other change I made to it. The first couple of attempts I made at making rat type circuits, they always ended up causing weird oscillations when I was playing my Telecaster, and for whatever reason, whenever I put a buffered pedal in front of it, the oscillations went away. So just to isolate it from any low impedance weirdness, or not low impedance, sorry, high impedance weirdness that it might encounter from pedals that don't play nice, I put a JFET buffer gain stage at the very front of the circuit. The pedal's true bypass, but when you switch it on, first thing it'll hit is this buffer stage, which makes everything nice and keeps the integrity of your signal before it heads into the Varmint to get distorted. So as soon as I did that, like, the bridge pickup of my Tele wouldn't start oscillating or anything, and I found that it just worked really nicely for stacking with other stuff. So there's that. Anywho, that's about all for this. I'll be putting this video up soon, and like I said, this is the last of the original Varmint distortions. Once this is gone, it'll be the version 2, which will have all the capabilities of this, but bit more. Anyways, if you liked the sounds of this and want this particular pedal, reach out to me at tomfreemanaudioeffects@gmail.com. You can also check out Tom Freeman Audio Effects, or TFA Effects, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course here on YouTube, all of which are under some variation of @Tom Freeman Audio Effects or whatever. And please like the video, hit subscribe, and hit the notification icon so that you get the latest updates on whatever videos I put out next. Anywho, that's the Varmint.